All right. So, National Medal of Honor Day is coming up, and I'm stopping at one of the cemeteries that I almost always stop at on my way home when I pass this particular cemetery. I am at the Orting Old Soldiers Home Cemetery. Now, the reason why I'm here is to pay my respects to the 4 gentlemen in this cemetery, and then later the 1 gentleman in the cemetery that's a little bit further away. So, it's about 5 people here in Orting. This is Orting, Washington, by the way. And the reason why is they have the Medal of Honor. Now, this cemetery has a lot of people. As you can see, there's Spanish-American War people here. There's mostly Civil War, but there's also World War I, World War II, recipients, Korea, Vietnam, and even the War on Terror. But I'm starting my National Medal of Honor Day early because I want to make sure that these gentlemen are paid respect to. The first one that I see here is Sergeant Albert O'Connor. Now, what's really interesting about him is that he and, I'm blanking on his name, Sickles, who is up there in the flags, you could just make him out up there. They actually joined the 7th Regiment of Wisconsin Infantry, or the Iron Brigade, before Lincoln's call to service, and served the entire duration of the Civil War with the 7th Brigade. And then, I believe in 1912, if memory serves, they both received their Medals of Honor. Now, that's amazing because they were some of the last 2 from the Civil War to get it. But what I really like with the cemetery is you have people like this gentleman right here, A.M. Dixon, Company E, that's U.S. Colored Infantry. This is really this is Buffalo Soldier stuff. This is before the infantry the military was actually integrated. And what's even more amazing is that on the far side of the hill is a 54th recipient, a member of the 54th Massachusetts, who survived. So we're coming up on our second Medal of Honor recipient here at Orting. This is Sergeant William H. Sickles, who, as I told you just a minute ago, served with O'Connor down there. I am in Orting, Washington, at the Orting Soldiers Home Cemetery, starting my National Medal of Honor Day celebrations early this year. Thank you for the question, Buzzard Pot 1. Hope I said your name right. Now, Houghton is around here somewhere. He's actually down there. But over here, I want to visit the 54th veteran first. Now, if you don't know, the 54th Massachusetts was immortalized in the movie Glory. And that was the first all-black division in the Civil War. And here he is, Corporal Charles Wood, Company E, 54th Massachusetts. Just a really, really neat piece of Civil War history. And as I said before, they're veterans of the Mexican-American War, the Spanish-American War, the Civil War, the Philippine-American War, all the way up to the War on Terror, rest in the cemetery. And even some of their families are here. So we're going down to the 3rd recipient. You can see the flags there in the distance. That's how they mark the Medal of Honor recipients here. There's also a nurse from World War I here who was honored by the Belgian Queen when she was in service during World War I. Now, Sickles and O'Connor both got their Medal of Honor for the same action they did together, and that was capturing Confederate flags and soldiers. Then we have George L. Houghton. He is a Medal of Honor recipient, and I can't recall the name of the battle, so forgive me, but he volunteered to lead a charge against a heavily occupied Confederate force and actually lived. So he got his Medal of Honor for those actions. Correction, he didn't get it. He received his Medal of Honor. But as you can see, a vast majority of these are just the headstones that are very standard. Now, what's really, really interesting here, while I look for the nurse, is that rumor is there are Confederates buried here as well. What's very interesting is that if they are buried here, they're in unmarked graves, and I'll get to them in a second. Now, here's the one I really like, just because I always visit her. It's Martha Jane Howard Drum. As you can see there, overseas Red Cross nurse, decorated by Belgian Queen for exceptional service. Now, I've looked this up a little bit, and I'm going to do a bigger video on her eventually, but really, really neat lady. Really amazing story there. And these are supposedly, if rumors are to believe true, these crosses here are the Confederates. Supposedly. So I'm going to make my way to the last Medal of Honor recipient. We've already been to O'Connor, who's over in that direction, Sickles and Houghton, who's over there. So we're getting to the last one. Now, hopefully, if you're watching this, you'll be able to see me go live when I do the Medal of Honor Day walking tour in Seattle at the Evergreen West Shelley Cemetery there. Now, that will start at 11 a.m. Pacific time, so 11 a.m. Washington. What I also like about this is that New York, Vermont, Indiana, Colorado, Iowa, all sorts of states. Michigan, the Navy's represented here, Coastal Artillery's represented here. Everything is represented here. And as you saw earlier, they even have U.S. colored troops who are buried here. So you can see Spanish-American War. Now right here is the monument to the veterans of the Civil War that are resting here. Now this is put by the Women's Relief Corps of the Department of Washington in Alaska, 1909. Hey, thank you very much all for the likes. As I said, this is my warm-up for the walking tour on this Saturday at Evergreen with Shelley in Seattle. And I will be going live at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So 11 a.m. in Seattle. Now there's another soldier's home in Reidsville, Washington that has one of these pillars very particularly like it. You have to forgive me, I just finished a baseball game and this is a quite steep hill. Thank you for the constructive criticism there, Frogtown. But I'm out here celebrating early National Medal of Honor Day, which again is on this Saturday. And our final recipient is down over this way. And then there's one really neat thing that I'm going to show you that's over here. Oh, and Frogtown Mayor 007, if there's something you feel I'm not getting to the point on, let me know, and I'll happily get to the point. And finally, we have Alex U. McHale. He is the fourth recipient buried in this particular cemetery. Also a sergeant, and I know it looks like a different abbreviation than other sergeants, but that is how they were abbreviated initially. But of these four individuals, they came together and over the past few years did a lot of fundraising. Oh, pardon me. And they had a memorial built right over here. Now, I actually attended that memorial ceremony, and I got to meet Sergeant Plumley, Master Sergeant Plumley, who was a Medal of Honor recipient. Really amazing. He's the second one I've met. Really excited to have met. So, I'll read these really quickly. So you have George L. Houghton, Private. As I said, Private Houghton voluntarily joined a small party that under heavy fire captured a stockade and saved a bridge that his brigade was entitled to. His company was tasked to protect and hold. Alexander McHale, Corporal, U.S. Army. Corporal McHale captured a Confederate color in a charge threw the flag over the front of the battle works. It says works, but it's battle works, and continued the charge upon the enemy. Generally speaking, anytime someone could be proven they captured a Confederate flag, they got the Medal of Honor. As you see, these two gentlemen got theirs in 1900. I was wrong on the date earlier. It's 1917. They were some of the last two to get it. But William Sickles, Sergeant, and Sergeant Albert O'Connor. So, read this closely. It says, with a comrade, Sergeant Sickles attempted to capture a stand of Confederate colors in a detachment of 9 Confederates, actually taking prisoner 3 members of that detachment, dispersing the remainder, recapturing a Union officer who was a prisoner in the hands of the detachment. Here's the comrade he was with. On March 31st, 1865, near the end of the war, with a comrade, Sergeant O'Connor recaptured a Union officer from a detachment of 9 Confederates, capturing 3 of the detachment and dispersing the remainder. And on April 1st, 1865, he seized a stand of Confederate colors, killing a Confederate officer in a hand-to-hand contest over the colors, and retaining the colors until surrounded by Confederates and compelled to relinquish them. So as I said, O'Connor did extra, but they did that first action together. And so that's kind of interesting. But that's a quick look at this cemetery. Now, the fifth person who has the Medal of Honor and is buried in Orting is up the hill about a half a mile. I won't be going live for him, but please, please, please join me at this Saturday, March 25th. It is National Medal of Honor Day. I'm out here at Orting early to celebrate and pay honor to these gentlemen. And it will go live at 11 a.m. Pacific time. I really, really hope you can join me. I hope you like looking at the individuals here at the Orting Soldiers Home Cemetery. If you want me to do more lives like this, please let me know. Be more than happy to. Thank you all very much for the likes. I'm going to have to sign off here soon, but I wanted you to get a good look at the cemetery and all the soldiers and some of their families resting here. I see Spanish-American War, World War I, World War II. This one right here, World War II, POC, Bronze Star Medal, Purple Heart. To those who asked where I am in Orting, Washington. This is the Orting Soldiers Home Cemetery. What a soldier's home is, for anyone who may not know, is a place where if a soldier doesn't really have a retirement plan or funds to have the retirement, they can go to a soldier's home, which is located about a mile down the road that-a-way, like directly past my van there, and they can basically live out their old age there. The gentleman I pointed out earlier was Charles Wood, Corporal. He was from the 54th Massachusetts. He's buried on the far side of the hill. He actually came out here very late in his life just to live here and finish his life here so he could be buried. Because being a black man, he may not have been buried where he was living out in Illinois. At least that's according to the documents I found about his family. But hopefully you've enjoyed this. I have to get going home because I just finished a baseball game. And please, again, join me March 25th, this Saturday. I'll be going live at 11 a.m. Pacific time as I walk through the Evergreen West Shelley Cemetery in Seattle, Washington, to pay respects to the 7 Medal of Honor recipients there. It's really amazing stories. One's from the Boxer Rebellion, 2 are from peacetime, a couple from World War II. I'm even going to have some of the families of these men speak on their behalf. So please, I hope you can join me. And with that said, thank you all very much. I hope you all have a chance to watch me on Saturday. Be live on TikTok. Have a great night, everybody. Happy early National Medal of Honor Day.